Hey everybody, Robert Van Valkenburgh here at Kogen Dojo with Keith Jackson from Gun Academy. We're here tonight. We're going to do some wrist locks. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me out.
Yep, it's a pleasure. And I'm going to talk to Keith a little bit about how he got into martial arts. He didn't start with jiu-jitsu, so I'm going to get a little bit into that. And he actually used to do jiu-jitsu where my brother did at Baltimore Martial Arts, where Mike Johnson and Steve Lord came from as well, and so we have some overlap with Kogen Dojo there. We have Steve Lord teaching here every other Tuesday, and Mike Johnson comes out every once in a while to teach. Obviously, is at Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Maryland out in Columbia, so we have some. It's kind of like family.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into martial arts? You didn't start with jiu-jitsu, right?
No, I started when I was 11 and doing like taekwondo like every other kid, and then I went through my awkward phase as a kid and realized that I couldn't make myself conform to that style. So I did wrestling a little bit in high school. I was awful at it. And then one day my buddy goes, "Hey man, I want to learn like Jeet Kune Do or Eskrima or Kali. Like it's called the Art of Destruction. It sounds super cool." And I was like, "That sounds awesome. Sign me up." And I went to like some little gym. We went there for a summer. The instructor was a Jeet Kune Do black sash, and he trained with Dan and Asanto a little bit, and he did some jiu-jitsu. And I liked that a little taste of jiu-jitsu I had, but I liked the cross training aspect. Mm-hmm. And next summer came, it was 1999. I signed up at Baltimore Martial Arts, and I started training under Gary Berger. That's where I met my main instructor / best friend, Sean Wilson. Mm-hmm. What's up, Sean? He's old and mean and crotchety, but he's really good at everything. He just kind of took me under his wing and wouldn't let me give up. And I got my first black belt in Kung Fu, 2001. I had been teaching for maybe like 4 or 5 months before then, running kids classes, started teaching the adult program, but I was still a white belt in jiu-jitsu. I was a white belt for like 7 years. It's ridiculous. But that's where I met Mike Johnson and Steve Lord, and they were like, I looked up to those guys. They were my heroes, and I wanted to be just like them. And Mike seemed like this. He was on this untouchable level. Like I had no idea what was coming next, and I felt awful.
It's still how I feel
yeah.
rolling with him.
Yeah, I learned a lot from that guy, because what I learned was to pay attention to how I felt, and I don't remember every technique he taught me, but I remember how I felt the entire time. I never felt lost. I never felt like I couldn't ask for help. I remembered feeling when I was like, I'm the new guy, man, going into a new school, it's creepy. When you have those kind of feelings still inside you as an instructor, it makes it easier for you to relate to like a new student who's coming in. You know what they're going through.
Yeah, some empathy.
Yeah.
We
need more of that in the world.
We were just discussing earlier in the fundamentals class that people feeling stuck on the bottom of side control.
Yeah.
And I have empathy for that because I felt like that. I was very claustrophobic when I started doing jiu-jitsu, and for like a year I had people just moshing me in side control, and quite frankly they weren't very nice about it, and it was good for me in the long run, but I emphasize a little bit more compassion than that for people just starting out, because at the end of the day we get better by staying, not by quitting, right? So it's better to have people stay and get tough in the long run than the Darwinian survival of the fittest stuff.
I remember those days you go home and the muscles between your muscles hurt, and you're like, is this what it feels like to die or to feel alive? Like, you can't tell.
Maybe a little bit of both. So you have an interesting background with the Kung Fu and the Jiu-Jitsu, and we were discussing a little bit earlier that there's sometimes is a sentiment that one martial art is the best for everything, for every possible outcome or every possible scenario, but that maybe that's not actually the case.
It can't possibly be.
Yeah.
You've got to cross train. You've got to know what you're doing. Like, I mean, I've adapted a lot of my kung fu. Like, I probably won't throw a punch in a fight. I'll smack the crap out of a man though. But I've learned over time. Like, there's a time and place for everything. Like, I don't always want to be on the ground. I don't always want to hit this guy with a double leg. If he's 400 pounds and mouthing off, he wins. That's my jiu-jitsu. best kung fu stance ever was just the running stance. No, I'm good.
So what did you learn from Kung Fu that you carried over into your Jiu-Jitsu? Because you're a black belt now in Jiu-Jitsu, a first degree black belt, right? So, you've been around the block for a little while. And
I'm old, you can say it.
Yeah, well, I'm older than you, I think. So, and I don't have a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. But what did you take away from Kung Fu that you're able to carry over into Jiu-Jitsu and vice versa? I mean, how has Jiu-Jitsu influenced the way that you do or think about Kung Fu?
I'd say mostly just angles. Like in Kung Fu, they have this concept where you never attack directly on. You kind of you cut off to the side and then cut through the angle. Like, yeah, it's basically the principle of Jiu-Jitsu. I tell my students all the time, no fair fights. I could lose a fair fight. If I say, like, hey man, you want to race? You best believe I've already gone to your car, pulled all the spark plugs out, put the banana in the tailpipe, sugar in the gas tank, and now I'm challenging you. I don't want a fair fight where I could get overwhelmed. It's the reason why we do a whole body versus an arm for an arm bar.
Mm-hmm.
So attacking on angles and hiding your intent.
Interesting. Yeah. So, what is it that you wish that you knew either when you first started doing Kung Fu or when you first started doing Jiu-Jitsu that would have made your progress that much faster had you known it? Or what do you what did people tell you but that you didn't pay attention to that you wish you did? Because it kind of go hand in hand sometimes.
The Notebook.
The Notebook.
Not the movie, The Notebook.
Yeah.
But the actual, keeping a notebook, keeping a journal, writing your moves down. I wish I had done it from the get-go. I guaranteed by this point, I've forgotten more moves than I actively use.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Like, these little tweaks that you've heard from, this one seminar. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, when you do the side control and you're going to mount, do this little detail. And you're like, oh, of course. And wait, what was that he just said?
Mm-hmm.
If I had a notebook, I'd know. And then I'm finding that I went back now. I'm finding moves that, I'm like, oh, yeah, I did see that as a white belt.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But if I had it in the notebook, I could have gone back to the beginning of my notebook, started reviewing, and I would have hit that move sooner. I would have had that many more times to drill it, and I'd be that much better at it.
Yeah, that's it. You're not the first person that said notebook. And I know, remember Pedro Sauer, we were at a seminar, and he was talking about that when you're shown new moves, because we're shown a lot of moves,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're shown new moves, that there's a tendency for people to say, well, that doesn't fit in what I'm doing now, or that's not really my style, or whatever it is,
right.
and you put it on the shelf. Well, over the course of 10 years or whatever it is that it takes for you to move up to black belt, if the techniques you've put on the shelf are greater than the techniques you've put in your toolbox, your toolbox is not really very valuable anymore, at that point.
I got a hammer and duct tape.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a really
I legit can still remember the day I thought to myself, maybe my legs are just too short for triangles. It's a ridiculous thing to think right now that I actually had that thought rationally in my head, learning from a guy who's 5'7" at his tallest, and he had no problem triangle choking me. People bigger than me.
Naki just sent me a video on John Danaher triangles for people with short legs. So yeah, there's a video out there. John Danaher showing triangles for people with short legs. So there's no excuse.
Yeah. So I love that about jiu-jitsu. Just the way you can conform the style to you. You don't have to conform to the style, the hard style. You must be able to kick this high and break this many bricks. No, I'm gonna just put on some pajamas and lay down and see what happens.
That's good.
So
you also are big into music, you said.
Very much so.
And
yeah, I'm touring with my band starting in, obviously St. Patrick's Day. It's a Celtic rock band, the American Rogues. We're going to be touring, so we're going to United Arab Emirates, play for the troops for St. Patrick's Day, flying back from there to Phoenix, Arizona to play in Tucson, then back over to Niagara, so that's going to be a heck of a week.
Yeah.
And it just jumps off from there, so.
Well, and you had mentioned earlier, you were talking about Victor Wooten and playing the bass. So
Yeah.
how have music and martial arts overlapped?
So, I'm convinced that it's all languages. Music is a language, jiu-jitsu is a language, and just the way you speak. And how did you learn how to speak? Did you go to classes for it?
I don't remember.
You learned it contextually. Most likely learned it contextually.
Yeah.
By doing it with people who are better than you and trying to keep up, daring yourself to keep up. So if you want to increase your vocabulary, don't sit there and talk to an idiot.
Right.
He's not going to have anything fun to say. If you want to like get better at playing music, sit in with some jazz musicians who can smoke you.
Yeah.
If you want to get better at jiu-jitsu, you better surround yourself with those lions that are gonna always look at you like prey until you're no longer prey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's cool. And you had mentioned about what was the quote that you'd said earlier about?
Yeah. So
playing the wrong note.
So he's a very, very jazzy guy, and he's like, yeah, man, just whenever you play a wrong note, just remember you're half a step away from the right ones.
Yeah.
Just slide right into it. So if you're in I'm sitting there, I got a triangle, and I'm like, man, I can't get this triangle. I can squeeze and gas myself out, or I can just look for that Kimura that's sitting right next door.
Yep.
I got the Kimura, but it's not working. Well, I could just turn this into a sweep or a back tee. You just slide into it, and everything can flow. Everything's got to flow.
Very cool. Very cool. So music and martial arts, two of my big passions. So what are you going to be teaching tonight?
Wrist locks. I know, I said it. I know it's like the longest 4-letter word in the world. I don't care. But my take on wrist locks actually comes from Kung Fu. So, it's not the typical compression and extension. There's some really tricky setups, and it makes your opponent second guess every grip that they put on you. Every time they put a hand on you, something happens as a consequence. Either they tap or they got close to it, and they're like, now they're afraid to grip. And if you can shut down somebody's grip fighting, you have a huge head start.
Yeah. So that's good. So, coming from a Hapkido background, I love wrist locks as well. I used to get accused of being a dirty wrist locker myself. I don't do them as much anymore because I'm working on new stuff. So
right.
it's interesting. Like I'm excited to see a different perspective on that approach.
It's definitely different. If you've ever rolled with me or anyone that has rolled with me, yeah, it comes out of nowhere. And the fastest tap I have to date, I'm going to call him out. Sorry, Nick Robinson. When we were in Towson University, Nick Robinson from Beltway Martial Arts. My fastest tap to date was 2 seconds. And it was a Chinese wrist lock, and he never saw it coming. And I've never wrestled with him after that. I'm not going to do it
because the revenge roll.
Revenge
rolls are a real
rematch.
thing.
He gets no rematch.
Yeah,
I love you, dude, but you get no rematch.
There's someone that I have trained with for a long time, and a long time ago, I mean, he used to smash me, and one day I tapped him, and he got up and he was huffing and puffing. He's like, "Let's go again." I was like, "Not today. Another day. Not today. Today I take it home."
That's all.
Yeah.
You gotta go out on top. You gotta go out on top.
Yep. For one day.
Yeah, one day. I just let me bask in it.
Yep. Although, don't make the mistake that one of our friends made, that he tapped the black belt and then he posted it on Facebook, and the black belt literally lined up the entire class the next day and tapped every single person in under 5 minutes, just to make a point.
That's great.
Yeah, don't post it on Facebook if you tap the black belt.
It's like they say, you poke the bear, you get the horns.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably not right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So anyway, let's get actually really quick. Is there anything that you want to promote? Is there anything you got going on at your school?
Yeah. So Noel Smith's got a big seminar coming up February 23rd. It's going to be Fabio Gurgel, one of the founders of the Alliance Jiu-Jitsu Federation. So you're going to want to be there. If you register early, I think it's $20 less. So.
Nice.
February 23rd.
Noel Smith, BJJ.
Noel Smith,
Smith's
BJJ,
up in Glen
Alliance, Glen Burnie.
Yep. Good. And you're at Gun Academy.
Which is, that's in Columbia, Maryland, right off of 108. We operate out of Elite SFN Boxing Gym. So if anybody ever wants to stop in and roll just to say hey, we're real laid back, man.
Yeah. And what's the website for your school?
It's www.gunacademymma.com.
And it's 2 N's in gun.
Gunn, yep.
Because
Clan Gun. Our motto is Aut Pax Aut Bellum, which means either peace or war. That's the most yin and yang thing I've ever heard.
There you go. And that's from where?
That's from Sean, our founder.
Mm-hmm.
It's his family clan. We're real proud of it.
There you go. And that's a clan as in Scotland.
Scottish clan.
Not a clan as in Mississippi.
No.
Yeah, not that one.
Think Braveheart.
Yeah, think Brave. There you go. And yeah, because you play music in kilts, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. How else would you?
So we're at 549 Baltimore Annapolis Boulevard, KogenDojo.com. We have guest instructors out here every Monday night, and actually more than every Monday night now, because the Taikyoku Budo group that I'm the head instructor of, where we have guest instructors coming out to show very specific pieces of different martial arts. Like tomorrow night, Mark Puri from Stu Ramos's Judo Academy, also Mike Stewart's Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Academy, is coming out to teach No-Gi Osotogari. So very specific, and there's a reason for that, and it's because the focus for the Taikyoku Budo is a little bit different than for the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and even for Judo. I won't get into it now, but come check it out sometime. That's at 7:15 tomorrow night. We're in the middle of Severna Park. Always invite people to come out. If you know of a guest instructor you want to see out here, if you would like to guest instruct out here sometime, then hit me up. Contact us through the Kogen page, or go to our website, whatever. We're friendly and trying to blow the roof off of the BJJ politics and really,
the walls.
Yep, create a big jiu-jitsu family, create a big martial art family, kung fu, jiu-jitsu, hapkido, all that good stuff. So awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.